and welcome to the Clyde FC podcast, sponsored by Tony Flynn Mortgages. Tonight starts the countdown to Saturday's huge match as we head up the A90 to face Peterhead. Joining me tonight once more, I am delighted to say we have Dougie and John Boyce to give us their thoughts. Gentlemen, welcome. How are we?
Yeah, good. Obviously after Saturday, it's positive feelings in the camp, so looking forward to getting down and discussing the victory.
Yeah, absolutely doing well. It's a strange feeling having a wee win on a Saturday evening, so felt a wee bit lost at the weekend after that, but yeah, feeling positive moving into next weekend.
Yeah, it's strange being on a show where we're talking about at least a couple of games and not a defeat in sight. So without further ado, let's talk Clyde, gentlemen. So as I touched upon in the opening remarks, we do make a journey north. This Saturday we are perhaps sitting somewhat more comfortably now with a 5-point gap in tow. This obviously could be wiped out with one bad result. Stay the same with a point. And then knowing that only one more point would be pretty much good enough for 9th place. A win allows us to, dare I say it, relax and then start planning for the playoffs with 2 games to spare. So let's break down then, how do we get to this point? Well, let's roll back the clock now to a week past on Saturday, Kelty away. John, we'll come to yourself first on this. Obviously, we stood in the terraces side by side. Truth be told, we're probably making our own fun, as the match wasn't exactly a classic, was it?
No, it wasn't a classic by any means, Paul. I think we had good fun discussing the food on offer at Kelty, which was very good. We could probably do a whole podcast on that, to be honest. But no, we had a good day out. It was my first time going up to Kelty, so I wanted to tick it off the ground list. Unfortunately, football didn't really match the excitement of ticking that ground off. Solid enough performance at the back, had a couple of chances, but yeah, happy enough with a point. Then looks like it will be important to the end of the season. Yeah,
there were some positives to the match, not only the result, however, the result elsewhere, mainly at Balmoor, did put a slight dampener on that point picked up. However, the positives, if we were to take them from the game, was that clean sheet. And here's a question for you, gentlemen. It was a back-to-back clean sheet for Clyde. Can you tell me when the last time that happened?
The 60s?
No, not that far back.
No.
You've undermined it now slightly, so I'm tempted to kick you off, but no, it's it was an eye-watering stat in my opinion still. So you need to go back some 1,229 days, or 3 years, 4 months and 13 days since the last time Clyde had a back-to-back clean sheets. So that was November 2019. If you want me to stop talking in riddles here. And that was when we had 3 clean sheets in a row that came against Cali Thistle in the Challenge Cup, Stirling Albion in the Scottish Cup, and a draw away to East Fife in the league. So I did think a back-to-back clean sheets, it had been a while, but it probably shows just where our issues have been sitting, Dougie.
Absolutely, and I know we'll come on to Saturday's game, but I think we saw that again on Saturday. Just some of those careless mistakes creeping in. I wish somebody had predicted nothing each the last time they were on the podcast for the Kelty game. That was Mystic Meg in the corner there. But yeah, we talked about it last time I was on, the importance of trying to have just that bit more strength and solidity at the back. We've obviously had a bit of chopping and changing between the sticks. Mullins come in and played really well in both games that he was fit for selection. But again, credit to Big Neil coming in. Obviously didn't make the game, but from what you guys were saying and some of the highlights, did look like he kind of kept us in the game. I believe he was the man of the match on the website as well. So it just shows you probably his confidence might have dipped a bit by kind of going out the team when he's got that experience and he's pretty much had the number 1 jersey since he's come in, but shows his professionalism to come back in and get us a very well earned point on the road. So yeah, it's really important for us to try and build on that and have those clean sheets the last few games of the season going into the playoffs, if we're really going to have any realistic chance of retaining our place in this league.
Yeah, John, well, I'll come back to yourself. Obviously, you saw both the Falkirk and Celtic games. What do you think kind of was the main difference then, if you take the game just before it, which was the 5-1 Airdrie game? We were everything but defensively sound that night. What's been the difference in those two games compared to what happened before, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I think having Sula and McLean together at the back has become a solid partnership. I think they've been working well together. I also think that Mullen and Parry, as we mentioned there, interchanging places. I think both solid shot stoppers, but the difference for me is that Mullen can distribute a wee bit quicker and effectively. I think they're just different kind of styles for the keepers. But the way we want to play it maybe suits a little bit more. So I think that's been a positive as well. And having that distribution means that we're not camped in our own half really, and maybe leads to those classic mistakes happening of our own downfall. And we're up the other park, maybe making a mistake, but it doesn't cost us because it's, teams aren't picking us up at the back. So yeah, I think the defensive line's been much better recently. I think that's, as I say, down to McLean and Sula. Sula I thought was excellent on Saturday as well, which we'll go on to talk about. I believe I described him as the Colossus, who's just winning everything. But yeah, I think that helped. And then I'll go on to talk a wee bit about the shape we had against Edinburgh, which again differed to the Kelty and Falkirk games. But maybe Jim's just finding the way that the players are setting up now is matching, the personnel that we've got. And it's a lot more comfortable as opposed to playing one up top at home with midfielders in different positions. And I thought having Hines come back in that central midfield role was good as well. So, yeah, lots of positives to take. But for your main question, I think having a solid partnership at the back and consistency in that position has certainly helped.
Yeah, I think the word I would describe Brian and Eric is aggressive in the air, in particular. Brian still wants to charge out, read the game, heart and mouth at times for myself. Young at heart, if nothing else, but he can lead guys like Eric and even Ross and John Craig at the right and left back positions too. So yeah, I think the defence is definitely up their game across all five, including the goalkeepers. The midfield, I don't think it really clicked so much at Kelty, but let's look at a game where it very much did click, and that was against FC Edinburgh just on Saturday there. I thought the midfield let's put it this way, it was probably the best 90 minutes for a Clyde team since probably 3-0 Kelty at home, Dougie.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that, Paul. I think every single man in that midfield ran their socks off. To touch on John's point there, I thought Hines was excellent. He's been in and out of the team, not been really able to tie down a starting jersey in any particular position. But I think that's probably just due to his versatility. He's able to come in and play wherever the team's needed him. I think he's been in 3 or 4 different positions now, so I would agree. He definitely made a solid contribution on Saturday. Curtis was fantastic, probably one of the best games we've seen him put forward in a Clyde jersey. Scully, if we saw that every week, he'd be winning all sorts of man of the match awards. He was absolutely fantastic. He was everywhere across that midfield, rightly winning himself a place in, I believe, the SPFL Team of the Week for this week as well, which is a testament to how well he performed in there. And Barry popping up with a wee goal for us as well, which again, and we talked about it on the day, like his movement to get to that front post was really, really impressive. So I would agree that the midfield probably won us that game on Saturday. To kind of just go back to your point about the centre-half pairing, I was lucky enough to hear the live commentary for the live stream in the second half, sitting just down from our esteemed commentator there. And yeah, he was running out of superlatives for Big Eric at the back. I think we still do see at times that lack of pace in there. There was one point where one of the guys went by Brian, like you were saying, he kind of charged in for the header and went by him as if he was towing a caravan a little bit, but the guys kind of came in to cover up for him and really were putting their bodies on the line a bit more. On Saturday there was a lot more kind of last ditch defending, and you can see that we've kind of got that little bit of momentum going now. I know it's not much, that it's only our fourth win of the season, but 3 games without defeat when we went on the run that we did is very, very important. And we're starting to hit, I don't want to say a bit of form, but we're starting to hit better form when we really need to pull that out of the bags. Yeah, really, really positive and encouraging performance on Saturday.
I think 3 games without a loss is definitely form in my book, and I'll take it all day long. Obviously, it's been a very long season for fans and players alike. I think that Saturday showed a good mindset as well, because that goal that Edinburgh scored, how many times throughout the season, maybe before the turn of the year or January, February, you would see them go on to win the game. I think the boys stuck in really well. Cudahy got his goal, and we actually held on to the lead as well for a full 45 minutes and got those 3 points. So at this time of the season, especially with playoffs coming up, obviously results are important. They absolutely are. But mindset and, getting games done and getting that form in, we're hitting the right form at the right time. We're showing that mindset of battle and claw, just get it out. So it's looking good. It's looking good. I also thought, we're saying Brian McLean charges out, which puts a few hearts in mouths. He charged out, passed the ball between the lines, and that started off our move for the first goal. So that was good to see. It's working from back to front, and we're getting our rewards. So yeah, it's looking good.
What I liked about Saturday was that I think our performances at times can be described as chaotic, but there was more controlled chaos on Saturday. We played with a high tempo, but we weren't just putting the ball into an area. We were actually, as you mentioned there, John, we were playing through the lines. You've mentioned quite often, I think you mentioned in the very last show, actually, how you would much rather see us play. And I think the 2 goals were basically exact. It was exactly what you want to see us do.
Yeah, listen, we play to our personnel strengths. There's been a lot of chat during the season of, we've picked up players from the West of Scotland League, the Lowland League, whatever. They are footballers. They've done a decent job for us, and they've shown what they can do in certain games. For me, it's just playing to their strengths. And for the majority of the season, we've been lumping balls up top to, 5'10", 5'11" players that other full-time defenders are going to win 9 times out of 10. And it's frustrating. On Saturday, we saw what we can do. We can damage teams if we play it on the deck. We get boys like Liam Scullion, a pass in between the lines. He turns. He's got acres of green in front of him, and he can run into it and use his strengths. And then the rest of the boys can run in. So we need to continue to do that. But I don't know about you guys watching the game. I thought Edinburgh, at this stage in the season, it looked like they were on the beach, to be honest. But, a win's a win and a performance is a performance. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't think there's any denying that Edinburgh certainly were flat, especially considering that they still had hopes and aspirations of reaching the promotion playoffs. Although I think the victory on Saturday for ourselves just about put that to bed. Mathematically, they still can. And I think as we're recording, they're at home to Falkirk.
At Falkirk, I'll see how that
Falkirk, sorry. Which is probably the last chance saloon for them. So, but let's look at the Clyde performance, keep it all on us and the positives, and let's look at the goal breakdown then. A nice early goal. Martin Rennie's second for the club. He loves an early goal, Dougie. What? It was a instinctive finish, I think. It's the best way to describe it.
Absolutely, and I've still to actually see him score a goal for Clyde. As each time I've still been tidying away the pop-up club shop from the fan zone at Aki's. So one of these days I will actually get to see him score a goal live rather than on the highlights. But yeah, as you say, just that kind of predatory instinct in the 6-yard box, knows where the goal is and just diverts it past the keeper. I think there were some mad claims for offside, and even from listening to their manager's post-match comments, he seemed to think there might have been some claims for it at the time, but clearly miles onside.
Barry Cuddihy, he made a nice run there, but McLean just held off. Good pass into Docherty though. Hines, that's a great ball out to Lyon. Can he make it? He can, you know. Lyon up against his man. Cuddihy in support. Lyon beats his man, puts it in. Craigan away. Only as far as Docherty. That's in! There's a goal for Clyde early on. It's Kyle Docherty. The ball fell to. His shot went into an area. Martin Rennie, clever enough to get a touch to take it past Robbie Much. It's exactly what Clyde needed here early on. An early goal to settle the nerves.
And I agree with you, what you kind of covered earlier on. It's nice to actually see a couple of guys up front. And I think Martin and Kyle really actually linked up really well throughout the game. Kyle, I know we probably would expect to get a few more goals out of him as our number 9, but his hold-up play for the last couple of home games has been fantastic, just to help bring us up the park a bit, to kind of go into some of your points there, John, but kind of playing between lines and just try to figure out the way the team's playing at times. Sometimes we've just been firing the ball up the park and it's just coming straight back at us. So whilst he's maybe hoping for a few more goals, as we all would, I think his hold up and his link up play was fantastic on Saturday.
He gets us up the pitch really well. You know, he's got good feet, good pace, and even if he's not scoring goals, as we saw on Saturday, he's showing some responsibility and taking a shot on outside the box to try and get something. And thankfully, luck at the time put Martin Rennie in the right spot at the right time, and he's put a nice wee finish past Much. But yeah, I do think that the two up top definitely worked. And we were getting a few overloads down the left as well, which always helps when you've got a good ball in from Liam Scullion like he provided for the second goal. So, looking good.
So do you think a lot of the work that we were seeing, obviously, Kel doing in recent weeks, Dougie, you mentioned that he has been doing a lot of good hold-up play. John, you said the same. But there's just not been enough bodies around him. Martin, when he's been playing, has generally been kind of hugging the touchline, looking maybe to cut inside, but it was very much more 4-4-2, very basic kind of 4-4-2 formation at the weekend. Do you think that was the key to the victory, John?
Yeah, I do. I think Kyle's worked his socks off for weeks, and it's a very lonely job, I would imagine, leading a strike force up there against your full-time defenders and other players. But I think when we bring players in and around Kyle, we've seen that he can do well. Saturday, and for a short spell against Kelty, I believe, as well, when Connor came on. He was playing up top with him as well. So yeah, I do think that the two up top definitely helps when you've got the runners coming in from midfield. And another positive, my goodness, from Saturday is the amount of chances we created. We must have had about 7 or 8 chances. 2 of them led to goals. We won't talk about that conversion rate, but you know, the fact we're making that amount of chances is vastly different to the majority of the season. So I'd love to see us stick with that system moving forward into the final 3 games. and hopefully into the postseason.
Yeah, I think numbers in the box was just, it was there for all to see. How often have we got into the final third? Anyone's got the ball out wide and you're looking for numbers of anybody in the box, and it's not really been there. But even before he actually got his goal, I think Barry Cuddy had a header, albeit fairly comfortably saved. But we had numerous other shots at goal. But every time there was at least 3 or 4 options inside the box, which is just, it's almost been unheard of this year. It's a simple thing, but if you get the numbers in there, the ball will inevitably fall to one of them, as it turned out to do so for Barry's winner.
Yeah, we were unlucky not to have a third. Having looked back on the highlights, depends what week it is, what the interpretation is on the handball rule. I'm not sure it can be deemed deliberate handball by Martin Rennie when the guy hits it at him from about 1.5 feet away. Again, good instinctive finish for it. But again, we find ourselves bemoaning decisions that have gone against us with that, and the questions of offside for the Edinburgh goal as well. So I think we've done well to see ourselves across the line, because you hit the nail on the head, boys. Even a month or 6 weeks ago, we lost that goal, you'd have lost another one within 10 minutes, and the heads just would have went down. So probably that 2 draws, obviously our draw against Queen of South a few weeks back as well. So just getting that little bit of confidence in the guys, knowing that, you know what, if we lose a goal, we can get another one. There's been probably not as many goals this season as we would have liked to have seen. I don't even know if we're averaging a goal a game at the moment for this season in the league. So to go, drop that goal and go level again and not let the heads go down, and know that, you know what, we'll just reset and seek out another one, is a testament to probably the good work the guys are doing coming out the tail end of the season.
It's important as well. You see it all up and down the country most weeks. You've got, refereeing decisions that, people will discuss whether they're right in the end or whether they're wrong. I think the important thing for the footballers is to put it in the back of their minds if something has happened, and just concentrate in their game. And that shows confidence in the game and that system, because we could talk about the Edinburgh goal, all we want on Saturday. I think I said to you, Paul, at half-time, it's happened. We need to react. We need to play our game. We need to get ourselves back into the game. These things happen in football. So it was good to see that, and it was good to see us get the 3 points. But yeah, I don't know about the goal. I think both goals were onside, in my opinion, from looking at the highlights. But again, happens all up and down the country. Just got to play your own game and try and get the points.
Yeah, and thankfully it didn't matter. That's the main thing. It didn't matter. As you say, the boys didn't let it get to them. Hopefully they maybe used it as motivation, and they kicked on. We got the winner, very thoroughly deserved winner. Very good goal. I think I never really appreciated how good a finish it was until I watched it back. It's probably the only place Barry could probably head that with enough power to put it into the net, Dougie.
Absolutely, and you see the intelligence he's run when you see the full move on the highlights. He kind of started out on the right hand side, and we kind of recycled it, and really good run across the defender. And as you say, cracking header. It's not something that you would really associate with Barry as Frank Lampard-esque runs into the 6-yard box to finish it off, but really good anticipation to get in ahead of the defender and see us over the line for that 3 points.
Well defended by Jacobs. Craig to Roberts. Edinburgh happy for Clyde to have a lot of the ball on the edge. It's going to take a good pass or a piece of magic to get Clyde in here. There's the pass, and there's the finish! Barry Cuddihy with a header. Clyde deservedly back in front. Well, I called that one. The pass from Scullion, the run from Cuddihy, the finish past Much. Excellent for Clyde. Montrose lead at Peterhead. Clyde leads here. Clyde 2, FC Edinburgh 1.
Again, just he's really starting to prove his value to the team, and if we can keep him fit, I think that'll be a really important cog in that midfield for the remaining 3 games, and as John said, hopefully the postseason with the playoffs coming as well, because he is so versatile. But I think he had a really, really good performance in the middle of the park with Curtis and with Hines as well on Saturday. So yeah, really good finish.
It's a great midfield 4 as well. There's so much energy. I mean, Curtis Roberts, he's still running just now. I don't think he ever stops. But there was a moment where obviously he went down. I think he collided with Martin Rennie. And he was holding his shoulder and looked in a lot of pain. And he thought, oh no, are we going to get the result but lose, Curtis? But it looks like he might be okay. I think after the game he just said he was a wee bit sore.
Or what's to that effect? Yeah.
Well, yes, I'm trying to remain professional here, Paul. It was blooming sore. But yeah, hopefully he'll be travelling with the team up north on Saturday, because he's a massive player for us, and we're talking, goal of the season going up on the website, and you're looking at player of the year. I think he's got my vote. I think he's been consistent. He's the one that can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and drag us back into things. And just his outrageous skill in the middle of the park. I mean, he took out about 3 players with one turn on Saturday. It was great. A joy to behold.
Very much so. You've almost jumped the gun a wee bit when I was going to ask you about other standout performers, but I want to turn the focus actually on one player, and we have mentioned them somewhat earlier in the show, and there was quite a few standout performers for us on Saturday, but in particular, Liam Scullion was, I thought, just brilliant from start to finish. He ran his socks down to his ankles quite literally, but there was no little skill or lack of skill, in there. He's had some difficult moments, I think it's fair to say, this season, but a lot about being a footballer, especially at his age, is about how you grow and learn from these. And I think since the game, and we obviously know what happened there, since that moment, I think Liam's just get better and better. And it kind of got to Saturday where I think you're really seeing what he can bring to us, and hopefully he was instrumental in all that was good for Clyde, I thought, of the weekend, boys.
Yeah, we lost you a wee bit there, Paul, but I think Liam Scullion has definitely showed his value over the last few weeks. He's turned into, he's not turned into, he was a neat player, but I think he's just polished it that little bit more. Obviously coming from, I believe it was Fauldhouse in the summer. It's a big step up to League One, so I think, the potential's there. Maybe had a rough start to his Clyde career, but maybe seeing the fruits of that now. He's definitely a player that can get us up the park, fairly similar mould to Barry Cudahy, and look how important he's been for us over the years. So it's good to see him finally get some assists and have big performances, and long may it continue.
What pleased me was seeing him further up the park as well. So you kind of alluded to another good performance at the start of the season against Kelty. When we think back to his role in a couple of the goals that day, that's when we've seen him at his best, was charging forward, using that engine to get into the final third and just pull us up the park. But again, if he can add a few more assists into that, if we're able to play him that bit further forward, we can hopefully see the fruits of that labour up there, because that was, for me, probably one of his best performances in a Clyde jersey on Saturday, and it was just playing that bit more advanced and probably having a bit more license to go forward with the ball. And a lot of the times we've seen him either being at full back or playing just a lot more defensively. So yeah, I agree, he was absolutely fantastic on Saturday.
So at the other end of the pitch, though, there was one minor scare, because it wouldn't be Clyde without at least having your heart in your mouth at least once in the 90 minutes. And when called upon, Ryan Mullen pulled off what, in my opinion, one of the saves of the season.
Yeah, I think I was watching Edinburgh's highlights package, which is a very good package if you're into your highlights. multicams, great. They described it as one of the ones where 9 out of 10 times it goes in and he's hit it straight at the keeper. I think if you watch it, it's a cracking reaction save. And he gets a big right hand out and stops it. And not only stops it, but gets it away.
And interestingly, with that John Robertson change as well, it looks like Edinburgh have went with 2 up top. With Shanley, and here it is. The ball in for Murray. Big save. Massive save by Ryan Mullen. Spread himself wide to stop Innes Murray with a tap in. Great touch and a hit in by Ryan Shanley. And that's the danger he poses.
It's not the first time he's done that, because he made a massive save at home to Falkirk as well in a very similar position, you know. So he can certainly spread himself big when he needs to. But as I say, I think his distribution's very good from out the back. He's got a good kick. He's sharp to anyone that's free, and he can start the attacks from the back without having to pass it about the players. So I think he'll be key for us moving into the potential playoffs if we can do our thing on Saturday. And I'm sure he'll be called up big again at Balmoor.
Yeah, I like yourself, John. I thought he blocked it with his body at the time. It was only once I saw the alternative angle, and you see at the last minute he throws his right hand up. It's a sensational bit of goalkeeping. And hopefully he's not called upon too much on Saturday. And with that in mind, let's talk about it then. Let's talk about the big one. We make the journey up. Was it 170 miles circa? Journey up the A90 to Balmoor at the weekend. How are the nerves, Dougie?
Fine. Absolutely fine. If you'd asked me 4 weeks ago, it probably would have been a few expletives in there. I do think, as we've all touched on, we're starting to play with that a little bit more confidence again. And if we do stick with the same formation that we saw on Saturday, I would hope that we would have enough to at least come down the road with a draw. I know we've got a lot of bogey teams and bogey grounds. It's a hard place to go. Again, depending on what the weather's going to be like. If it's blowing a gale, it's really anybody's game up there, which it has been quite a few times. So I think the most important thing is coming down the road without a defeat. But with the performance we saw against Edinburgh, the confidence that's surely going to give the guys, it would certainly be quite sweet to go up there and relegate Peterhead after the to's and fro's that we've had with them over the years. I would certainly enjoy that trip back down the road.
I would certainly enjoy that result as well, Dougie. If you had asked me that, Paul, maybe after the Celtic game, it would maybe be the same answer, but a little bit less convincing. But I'm confident we can go up and get something. 3 unbeaten, playing some good football. If we stick to the formation we did on Saturday, right enough. Clyde have a horrible tendency over the last 5 or 6 years to morph into some, hoofball team whenever it matters. And I think if we stick to our game and try and play it on the deck like we did on Saturday, we'll get something. And, we get the win, that's it confirmed, but I'd be happy with a point because that goal difference, makes it's essentially as good as a point. So, yeah, I would like to get a draw or a win.
So just a quick run through again of the maths. It's fairly simple. Clyde win, we're in the playoffs. Peterhead are relegated to League 2. A draw would then leave us requiring a definitive 2 points to be mathematically safe. However, Boise, as you touched upon, that goal difference is effectively an extra point as it is. So 1 would realistically be enough. A defeat, and I don't like saying it, it really does then set us up for a nervy and a very tough final 2 matches. If you look at the 2 sets of fixtures for both clubs, so for ourselves, we would be way to Dunfermline Athletic, and that will be trophy day for the Pals.
Easy 3 points.
And then a final home game against Montrose, again a side that we've not been particularly strong against. On the flip side, if you look at Peterhead, they've got Kelty Hearts, I believe, away from home. Kelty struggling big time in front of goal. And then they'll be playing Falkirk at home on the last day of the season, and that's obviously a Falkirk side who may even be looking forward to a Scottish Cup final. Who knows? But they will also have probably one eye on the playoffs. If I personally had to choose a fixture list, if the worst case scenario was to happen, I would probably want theirs, if I'm honest. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm being a wee bit pessimistic here, guys, and feel free to shoot me down.
I can see where you're coming from with that. Obviously, Kelty have got nothing left to play for, and they've got quite a lot of changes afoot. So Potter's not even going to be there next year. So much like Edinburgh on Saturday, is it going to be a case of they've already got their sliders on and thinking of the beach when Peterhead have actually got something to play for? As you said, Falkirk could be that at that point thinking of European football and a Scottish Cup final. So do we just hope that Agent Allen is on the case, given that he's not going to have any part to play in that? And he's, after all the important goals he got for us in the first half of the season, he could finally, put the nail in the coffin for Peterhead. I would hope that it's not going to come to that. And we take the bull by the horns. It's in our hands. It's our own destiny at the minute. I know these are all ifs and buts that we do need to consider should we fail to come back down the road with anything from the game on Saturday. But I would say that whatever fight they're going to have for the last 2 games, we're going to have as well, regardless of the result against Peterhead. We're at the stage now where losing 1 game doesn't mean we're going to go on and lose 4 or 5. We've got that winning feeling again very recently. So I would hope that we're going to have it in our own hands and we're not going to have to rely on other teams. But yeah, I would still feel confident enough going into the final 2 games that we could get the point that we need to see ourselves far enough away from Peterhead.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a draw in a relegation battle, we have the man in charge that's done it before and the man that you would want. So, yeah, bring out the duff ball.
Yeah, so, and if we're going into the playoffs, we're going to be getting used to playing on these hard surfaces away from home. So our first leg of a potential semi-final and final is going to be on a Tuesday night away from home, still all up for grabs in that league as well. It's just as if nobody wants to take that 3rd and 4th position. Every team that's in and about seems to be dropping points. So, we could end up, after the result they had on Saturday, we could end up going to Methil on a Tuesday night. So, yeah, we need to put in some good performances away from home, and hopefully that starts on Saturday.
So, as far as mentality then goes for Saturday, John, what would you, as it is, I know you said you wanted us to play in the same shape, but are you wanting us to go with the same attacking intent, go with the mindset of we're here to win, we're not here just not to lose?
I think you've got to go into every game thinking you're going to win it. Otherwise, what's the point? I think we're good enough.
Let me rephrase it then, sorry. Would you be happy enough to go, if we get a point, fine? Or are you very much... Because a point still keeps it very much live for Peterhead. Football's a very, very, very stupid game at times. And even though they've not won many over the season, who's to say they don't just win 2 in the bounce and that 5-point gap means nothing?
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, a draw's fine. But if it's in our own hands and we can finish it on Saturday, I think the boys will want a win, We've beaten Peterhead the last time we played them. They've probably had more of a mental game the last wee while because they won when we drew at Kelty and thought they were back into it. and then they've lost on Saturday and we've won. So there's a wee bit of mind games there as well, obviously. But yeah, I think we go try and get the win. Set up the same as we did against Edinburgh. Their pitch obviously is a wee bit heavy, but I think we can still play our football. I still think we can run through the midfield, play some nice stuff. If we play quicker passing than them, I'm sure we'll cut them open. As a team that's conceded as many goals as Peterhead have this season. That's no disrespect to them. That's just the facts. So
it's counting.
Yeah,
it's just counting, really.
Well, obviously we're not that great ourselves, but
yeah, people in glass houses and all that. But
but yeah, I'd be happy to come down the road with a 3-0 win, and that's how I think it will be.
Wow, right. Okay,
I think we'll shock some people on Saturday.
Right, Dougie, it's over to you. If we're going predictions, Boyce is in 3-0.
He's in early with his. I'll take a one each. As I say, it's a hard place to go. I don't know off the top of my head. You're the stats man. I think maybe we've only won twice up there in the last decade or so. One of which was really a Thursday night behind closed doors during COVID with a Craig Howie Van Basten-esque hit. So no crowd to influence that one. And then I think a last minute turnaround when we were 1-0 down with about 5 minutes to go. So we don't historically do well up there. So given the circumstances that we find ourselves in, I don't think the guys would be too disappointed coming back down the road with a point in the bag. But I agree entirely with Boyce. Like we need. I would want us to go out with the same attacking attitude that we did on Saturday, and take the game to them, because I don't think we've got anything to fear. And I know that sounds crazy when we're so low down in the league, but if we go out with the confidence that we showed on Saturday, then there's absolutely no reason why we can't come away with a 3-0 victory.
Yeah, pressure's all on them.
Yeah, very much so. So, safe travels to all those making their way up to Peterhead to give the boys their backing. Dougie, I believe you've got a wee announcement just before we wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have mentioned the man himself a few times through the podcast tonight, but Barry Cudahy obviously made his 200th appearance for the club a few weeks ago, and we do have a signed Barry Cudahy top to commemorate his 200th appearance that the club are going to be raffling off. So those tickets will be available on the club shop for £5 a go. We will be running that until the end of the month. And hopefully, if the winner is able to get to the last home game of the season, we'll get Barry to present the shirt to them himself as well.
Brilliant. And we'll make sure we get that promoted on our socials, as well as obviously the club will do the same. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. It's good talking about victories and positivity all around, apart from me trying to bring the mood down at the end. But I'm a Clive fan. There's always a disaster in waiting, isn't there?
Don't end the show on that, Paul.
Was that?
Don't end the show on that. There's always
I'm actually going to end it with my prediction. I'm going to go 1-0 Clyde. A nervy 1-0. Back down the road. Job's done. There you go. And I don't like doing predictions, so I've just made a fool of myself. So, anyways, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. We will hopefully be back next week to discuss our plans for the playoffs. Have a wee maybe look at who we will hopefully be playing in said playoffs. And if not, this didn't happen. And until next time, come on the Bully Wee.
On Clyde.